Okay, so this is a Python module. So this becomes a module, and this becomes a package. The init is a package, this is a Python file. And then we can also create another file, I can call it visualization like this. Okay, visualization .py. So visualization.py. So now you understand what we mean by what a package and a library. We can create our own custom create our own function with this. So now remember where we started from. We are dealing with the building blocks of what a library. Okay, and then we said that the building blocks of a custom library will consist of one, Python modules and packages, which is what I just explained. Then number two is creating your own function. So functions are the heart of your library. So an example of a simple data function can be something like this. All right, so we can create a simple data cleaning function like this. So we can say def and then the name of our function. So let's call it data cleaning or clean data, whatever. So let's call it data underscore cleaning like this. We'll pass in df inside there. So we pass in, okay, and then so here we are now going to write, we will now call the create a variable df, which will be equal to drop now like this. Okay, like this. And then now after the drop method, then we now call the same variable again, and then we now equal to, so because Python allows us to reuse user variable, that's why we can still use the df. So I will now call the df from above, and then I'll call the dot reset index of. Okay, so what this simply mean is we are trying to reset the index. Okay, then you should return the df like this. Okay, so this is a simple Python function that help us to clean data. This is what we mean by a custom creating our own custom function for data cleaning. Then another thing is organizing code with classes. So for a more complex logic, we can use classes to organize our code, and for us to do that, we can do something like this. So let's still do it here. All right, let's still do it here. So I can create classes like this. Okay, I'll create a class, then the name of my class. So in this place I can call it, okay, so this is just sampling, so let's call it engineering. Okay, so then we now create a constructor. Yes, we create our own constructor like this. Okay, and then inside there now we can now pass in our df like this. Okay, and then the next thing we need to do is to create a reference variable. Okay, I will reference the parameter we have here. So self.df equal to df like this. Now then we can also have another method that add log and or transform log or whatever it is. All right, so we can have a method, so whatever method you want to have. So now we are going to create a method that is going to let's say transform. So we have method transform. I'll say def, and then I'll say transform. Okay, so method transform like this, and then inside there is a self there, and then in case you don't know much about the self that we are using here, or you are new to Python, you can look at my beginners Python for beginners series and learn more about classes and OOP in general from there. All right, so I'll do self, and because I'm transforming, there is need for column or whatever, so I can do, let me add column here, for example. I'll do column. Okay, all right, so when I add column like this, the next I want to do is to reference that. So I'll do self, and then I'll do dot df, then passing the, I'll format the string, so I'll do f like this. All right, like this. Okay, so once I do this, it should return the self like this. Okay, so this is a method that transforms the data that we are going to be handling. Okay, so remember, this is just a sample. You just put this here as an engineering. Then this is a method. This is a constructor method, a built-in method that initializes our class. Okay, so we have one attribute about our class here, which is just the df here. Okay, and then we are creating a method that transforms the data we are dealing with. Okay, so, and remember, we will need to import. Okay, so the NLP there imports numpy as NMP. All right, so because you cannot be dealing with column and you will need to deal with what, with numpy, a simple class that help us to organize code in a simple way. All right, then another thing we need to understand is processing tools. All right, processing tools. Now, when we are talking about building a machine learning library, you must understand that building a processor will help you a long way. So we are going to build a pre-processing module for our library, and this will include data loading, cleaning, and feature engineering tools. So the first thing we will need here is data loading and cleaning functions. All right. So let's do that inside this pre-processing. Okay, so here I'm going to show you the processing tools. I have this code already here. So I'm importing pandas, importing numpy, and also I'm importing matplotlib, and then as PLT. Then I'm using a dummy data. So this is just a dummy data with an ID range of 1 to 11 with values, and then I'm passing that data inside a data frame. By pandas a data frame. So now I'm saving that file inside inside a dummy data.csv file, and then I'm loading that data. So this is a function that I'm using to load the data that we have already, this data that we have here, and then I'm cleaning that data. So this method cleans the data, and then this method is performing feature engineering. All right. So, and then I'm now going to plot the data that we have, so which we're going to give us the histogram of the column and the frequency, okay, of the column. All right, and then this is it. Okay, now if we run the code, now let's run our code.